Oh, the cockpit. What a sanctuary that was. An altar of steel, noise, and the smell of oil. There, surrounded by buttons that actually did something, levers that demanded the strength of a dock worker, and instruments that seemed like magical. Relics from Jules Verne, I, Amelia, controlled the fate of a flying machine with nothing but my courage, paper maps, and a radio that failed more often than it worked. Today, they call them digital cockpits. A kind of minimalist beauty salon with colorful lights and touchscreens. You press fly, and the plane takes care of the rest. I watched, dumbfounded, as a modern captain leaned back in their chair and muttered something like, "The navigation system handles it." Excuse me? What? The system handles it? In my day, if you wanted to know where you were, you looked at the stars, or you messed up big time and ended up in the wrong ocean. Now, just press a button, and the aircraft announces, automatically diverting around the storm, "Relax, relax." I've never heard a word more offensive to a pilot. And the sensors, ice sensors, wind sensors, sensors for sensors. If a pigeon flies by in a bad mood, the panel flashes, "Danger detected." By my honor, where has the bravery gone? Pilots, don't take it personally. I understand the world moves on. But from where I'm watching here in eternity, which by the way has a stunning view of the skies, it seems we've traded the soul of flight for a screen with Wi-Fi and ambient music. But wait, if you think the digital cockpit has already got me riled, hold on until you hear what these modern souls do when their coffee comes lukewarm. In the year of our Lord 1937, I was soaring over the Pacific with half a bottle of lukewarm water, a tuna sandwich wrapped in newspaper, and the hope of not becoming a headline. Today, passengers, or should I say, noble sky travelers, complain if their peanuts don't come in the right packaging. With these ethereal eyes, I saw a man threaten to sue an airline because his coffee was 2 degrees below the ideal temperature. 2 degrees. In my time, if the engine didn't explode and the rudder responded, that was already first-class service, and don't think it's just the passengers who get fussy. The modern pilot, poor thing, feels insulted if they're not addressed as commander, with the reverence of a Templar knight. Back then, they called me the crazy cloud lady, and I was the captain. Nowadays, there are courses on serving peanuts with etiquette, entire departments dedicated to armrest ergonomics, and manuals on how to smile with your eyes to avoid looking robotic. In my era, if the plane landed with more than 3 wheels on the ground, it was worthy of applause. Literally. And what about the in-flight menu? "Ma'am, would you like the penne with truffle sauce or the organic quinoa salad?" My goodness. Where's the adventurous spirit of eating whatever was left in the radio operator's lunchbox? Yes, flying has become a blend of a 5-star hotel and a sensory spa, aboard an aluminum can hurtling at 560 mph. And it only gets worse when we talk about classes. But don't jump ahead. I'll tell you about the class warfare in the sky. Now, just look at this. In my time, the inside of a plane was all the same. Noisy, cold, with a peculiar smell of grease mixed with existential dread. The only class on board was the class of survivors. Today? Oh, they've divided the sky into castes straight out of Versailles. We have the so-called first class, which looks more like a levitating presidential suite. Seats that turn into beds, pajamas, offered as if they were relics, and, swear by my compass, a wine list. In the air. I took 3 weeks to cross the Atlantic, and the modern citizen refuses to fly without knowing if the sparkling wine is from France or just California. Next up, business class. A place where you pay dearly to pretend you're not in economy. They get meals on porcelain and a little shower head built into the seat so they can arrive in New York with presentable hair and intact dignity. And then, the masses. Oh, the economy class, where medieval battles over armrests reign supreme, and a choreographed ballet to reach the exit without touching anyone. There, reclining 4 degrees is considered imperial luxury. There's also premium economy, also known as the illusion of nobility. That's when you get 3 extra centimeters of legroom and think you've made it in life. In today's sky, you don't cross clouds, you cross social strata. All this while the flight attendant beams as if she doesn't notice some are sipping fondue while others get a generic cracker that tastes like regret. But don't think this is the peak. Wait until you hear what they've done to the planes themselves. And so, my dear friends, I reached the most unsettling part of my journey between the living and the absurdities of the present. Planes that fly on their own. Yes, they say there are now planes guided by computers, algorithms, and, brace yourselves, artificial intelligence. A concept as foreign to my time as a carrier pigeon reciting Shakespeare. Back then, we trusted magnetic compasses, hand-scribbled maps, and a good sense of direction. I, Amelia, navigated the heavens with the help of a radio and a co-pilot, who, if he could make hot coffee and stay awake during turbulence, was already a prodigy. But today, the pilot doesn't touch the controls until something goes wrong, and, even then, only after checking Google to confirm if what they're feeling is really an emergency. And don't think I'm exaggerating. There are entire flights where pilots don't speak to anyone. They're silent shadows locked in hermetic cabins, watching screens while the plane does all the work. They're the new ghosts of the air, as mysterious as they are discreet. I, accused of being a too daring woman for flying a twin engine, would now be considered obsolete. And the plane? Now it's untouchable by human hands. You no longer hear the roar of the engines or feel the engines or the shudder in the wings. It's like flying inside a library with Wi-Fi. Lords of the eye. Future, you've got created a flying machine that dispenses with the pilot and carries thousands of trusting souls. Based on calculations. Calculations. My heavens, even the sky has become an equation. But well, who am I to judge? Just someone who vanished while trying to cross the Pacific with a map, a dream, and an engine that sputtered. Here's my verdict. Noble dwellers of the future, modern aviation is a spectacle of comfort, excess, and aerial alienation. They've turned flying, an act once synonymous with courage, risk, and freedom, into an experience akin to a floating buffet with individual entertainment systems. In my era, the sky was a battlefield of clouds. Today, it's a climate-controlled corridor between duty-free shopping and a selfie in the airplane lavatory. Planes, which once symbolized humanity's victory over gravity, now represent the triumph of convenience over consciousness. No one looks out the EI window in awe anymore. They're too busy choosing the movie of the month or asking the flight attendant if there's a vegan, gluten-free alkaline option. And pilots, once knights of the sky, have become mere system operators, awaiting instructions from machines that never sweated through a storm or faced a storm without knowing if they'd return alive. But I'll give credit where it's due. There's something admirable in all this. You've turned the impossible into routine. You've made flight a common bridge between cities, cultures, and lives. And even if you've swapped thrill for efficiency, you fly. That in itself remains a miracle, even if it's dressed in gala attire with noise-canceling headphones. So, if you'll allow me one final reflection, don't let the wonder of the sky become invisible behind a touchscreen. Look out the window. Remember you're floating in the air. And be grateful for every safe landing and every takeoff that carries you far or brings you home. Now, if you've enjoyed this little narrative flight, leave your modern smoke signal, like the video, comment with your own futuristic take, and share it with other time travelers so we can all be baffled and smile together.